welcome to Freelance Sucks. Here we discuss the dark side of freelancing about which nobody usually talks out loud. In this show, we speak with experienced freelancers, and I'm sure listening to their stories helps you prepare to freelancers' challenges. My name is Yuri, I'm a community builder at Code Control and 9am.works, and my guest is Alessandro Pedori, a highly experienced AI NLP engineer whose professional journey started in the 2000s when he was the first person he knew who lost their job to machines and is now committed to helping people be the best version of themselves they want to be. So, welcome, Alessandro.
Thank you.
For you, let's start with the first question. So, for you, what is the most challenging part of being a freelancer?
Can I say three? With the most, I mean, I started sorting through three and listening to things and trying to find the most. So I wouldn't know. Can I give you three ones? Okay, thank you.
Exactly.
I mean, being in AI now, or if you want the hardest in AI when you're a freelancer and you don't have a project manager between you and a customer, is the customer wanting a magic wand and not realizing that, and that was already bad a few years ago when AI was machine learning, but like, okay, I have 3 documents and a piece of used chewing gum, extract information from that. And well, do you have 10,000 labeled documents, please? Like, no, that would cost money. Yes, I know. Do you want me to do it? I'm more expensive than the labelers. I'm an AI engineer. And now with ChatGPT, just ask the thing to do stuff and it will be smart. Yes, and I have to string things around. So they want a magic wand and you just have a tool. So that's terrible usually. And similar to that is people arriving with their idea and you spend 1 or 2 hours talking with them and you end up describing why the idea can't work. And no one pays me for the time that I spend crushing people's dreams. I have been looking for way to monetize that, and I've been told actually working for venture capital. So I had a few conversations, but yeah, one day I will get the dream job of destroying people's dreams and projects for fun and profit. And sometimes downtime. I mean, I like having short. One of the reasons I love being a freelancer is having 1 to 3 month project when you learn something new and you build the stuff and it works well enough, and then maintenance is someone else's problem. There is a new thing to learn. And sometimes, you either have too many projects that you can't do, or you have nothing for a few months aligned. That, I like having downtime and going traveling, but sometimes there is an ebb and flow that is slightly. And maybe lastly is in AI, the ridiculous amount of new things to learn. Like, I am a working engineer and I never knew that I would spend probably 20 to 30% of my time reading newly published papers. And the other day I was writing to a client wow, there is this technique that is not that new. It's 1 month old that I could apply. And I was like, I think there are still plumbers. There are people that say this technique has been working for the last 50 years and we use it. For me, oh my God, I haven't caught up with the technique from 2 months ago. I'm so outdated. And it's that's good. I would be happy to get a break. But
From your perspective, what time some new technique or methodology has to be in the world to be relatable, so we can rely on it?
It depends. I would have said, even in AI, I was waiting a couple of years. Even in programming, you want at least a few people to try something and get some edges. Now with the GPT, I find it 2 months until people start using a tool but it's too fast. You need to follow people that are so early adopters. They use something, but they also don't have the attention span of a butterfly on math. So they stay on the tool until they shave off some edges. So good question. On a society level, we are starting to learn how to adapt to social media, and that we started having it in end of the 2000s. So we are 15 years in. and we start having an idea of how to properly use this stuff, maybe. Programming, I mean, I think most of the tools that I use are from the last 10 years. I mean, my favorite language is Python, 25-year-old, but it changed a lot. So it depends, but at least having had, I mean, I prefer, I mean, when I decide I'm an engineer, not an artist or not a scientist. So I like build me a bridge. I ask people like, can you show me a couple of bridges that stay up? I don't need many, but at least a couple that stay up and a couple that went down, and I can compare. And the artist will think like, I want to build a bridge made of thin air. Like, that's great. Like, sounds like a great installation. And the scientist will do other research, and maybe in 10 years we'll have an idea of a better bridge. And so I feel like I want to see examples of things, how they work. Mm-hmm. And so at least that's also what ChatGPT kind of like blew my mind for a few months. Like to me, like, okay. And then I started seeing people that I trust using it and finding way. And then I had a few projects where I could try to use it. And I'm like, okay. I'm beginning to see what skills I'm bringing to the table that are useful and what skills became suddenly useless. And so enough time to see examples and to see real world. Like before in AI, like, I mean, I've been people asking me to do chatbots for forever. And I'm like, you don't want a chatbot. And now it's actually like, okay, chat interface can work for some things. It's still a bit like, so yeah, it depends. That's a typical engineering answer. Like,
okay, got it. And as a freelancer, what is the most time consuming thing you must deal with?
It depends again. What is the most time consuming? I mean, depending what we define that, probably if it's a big organization, the starting of a project, usually from when they consider you to when you start and when they actually have figured out the onboarding, it can be even 1 month in which you're not sure when the project will start, so you can't take another project. And it's a bit this weird, and if not, I mean, since I'm an engineer and not a data scientist, the most time consuming is package. I mean, once you have solved the problem, packaging in a way that it doesn't explode if you sneeze, that usually takes much time. I'm there now for 2 projects that they're like, okay, this kind of works. So now let's make it a product. Like, okay, now the real work starts. Like the fun part is done. Now it's actually engineering and tests and deployment and all that kind of stuff. So if you want all of the fiddly bit that differentiates you from a high school programmer, and but an engineer is all of the part that takes the most time.
And what is the most nerve-consuming thing?
Client giving you a hard deadline and not hearing that you have 5 proof of concepts lined up, and each of single problem, you know, it can be solved. And like, okay, then now for next Monday, create a demo. And like, wait. Or again, people going back to having wanted a magic wand and thinking that, well, it's AI, right? It's like, yes, and so why? If the AI can do it, why are you paying me a lot of money to do it? Possibly there is some hard work. So yeah, I mean, I like solving problems. So having clients with their unreasonable expectations, or disappointing people, or having to say, no, I can't do this, or I can't do this yet, or it will take longer, I really don't like it. I don't really like it. I like saying, oh yeah, good, yeah, let me do it, it's done, instead of like, oh, it's difficult, or this is taking longer than expected, and so on. So that.
I heard different things from different freelancers. So sometimes people like, if clients say something and you like have proof of concept that it won't work or you have to deal with it, some people are like, okay, they pay me for this, I won't ask questions, I will just do whatever they want. And other people, okay, they pay me for this, but it makes no sense, I will talk to them, like let's find things out. So what is your approach?
I mean, I would say that the more senior you become, the more you want to do the second. I mean, for sure, I have, and if it depends who is your customer. I mean, I have a big mouth, so I always say like, this makes no sense. Why? And then there is a moment where like, okay, look, I am engineer. I don't understand the business model. This, this will work. But still, like when I try to find out about what is doable. I when I teach either programmers or social skill, this idea of triaging and finding like you want to start solving the problem that will give 80% of what is done with 20% of the effort, and finding what they really want. And but it is a longer process and depend. Some clients don't are not open to listening, and usually, by now I try even not to work with them because it's I don't need it. I don't need a headache. But delivering something, that's what I asked you, but it's not what I needed. People will not be happy. Maybe they will pay you for what you did because they pay you by the hour, but they will not. They will for sure not recommend you to others, or they won't be happy about having worked with you. And for sure, there are a few people in the past that have not been happy to work with me. There's one project I remember in which they wanted something completely useless. We talked about it. I had some other people in the middle, so I was hired by consultants. We built it. Technically, was great. For a user, was completely useless. They threw like 60,000 euros down the drain. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm a big chunk of those 60,000 euros, and I'm sorry. I don't know what to do about that, but I haven't been in that situation after that.
As a freelancer, do you ever feel professional loneliness?
Professional?
Loneliness.
Sometime when in the last 2 years, I got high enough in my skill set that I started looking, even joining specialized Slack groups or places to ask for advice, and there could find the advice I got was things I had already tried, because I do try my things before asking for help. So that, I have enough freelancers around. Some are even ex-students or people I work with. And most of generally most of the programmers I end up liking are the weirdos that like what they're doing, and they build things for fun and tend to be either freelancing or entrepreneurs or whatever. So, and there are meetups. So not really.
You cracked this code.
Not really. I want to organize more. I have this dream meetup that I want to organize at least once. It is like coding over 40, but I've been or IT over 40. But I've been talking about that for so long that soon I will have to do the IT over 50. So there is a bit of this also. Mostly they're like, "Hey, is it really a young person game?" And then now I'm meeting more and more very skilled people in my age range or older. So it's a different game with more social skills. But I find. Programming is this weird place where programmers tend to. We are the only industry that organize conferences for fun. Like normal other industry, they have the commercial conference and the academic conferences, and then you have people into science fiction or something like that organizing a convention. And we have the Python convention. They have the PyData convention. We have all of the things that you meet other programmers because we find this stuff fun.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
So it's easy to find, and then it's interesting to meet the different people. The people are like, "Oh, I do this because it's a well-paid job." And okay, and there are people like, "Wow, I've done this thing, or this doesn't work." And we tend to be very opinionated and a pain in the neck, like make me use a programming language I don't like and see how much of a happy programmer I am. But it's easy to find programmers and that and they often are freelancers because you get to a certain level of skill, and then you do like, okay, I can do that.
Got it. Alessandro, if your friend wanted to become a freelancer, what are top 3 things you'd advise them to consider before doing it?
I talked with a few people to do that, so it's not. With several friends doing that. Like depending on their career level, you should be at least mid or senior. So have enough, get a few years of experience in companies, because as a freelancer, a client will not pay you to learn on the job. A few things, like if you know 90%, the 10 missing percent, you can, but that's it. being okay with the uncertainty, like if you want the safe job and contribution and that kind of things, that's not for you. Like a third one, so three things to consider. I mean, one is how to get there, and then having some level of presence. The other one is knowing that there are these different trade-offs. And also when you do it, I mean, knowing, at least in my experience, that the first year will be wobbly and it will take a few time to enter agencies, get some clients, get some visibility, and knowing that, I mean, if you really need the money that you're earning from a stable job, you have to ask rates for more than double that, because there will be downtime, there will be your own taxes, your own things. But that's, I mean, that's in every situation, and it depends. Like mostly, I mean, you talk with people that like new challenges a lot, and they want to do new things and to have some independence. And that if they have 3 months downtime, they're like, yay, great, I'm going to Bali. That people that are like, okay, consider freelancing because that would work for you. And the people that are like, I want my paycheck, I want to socialize with my colleagues, and I like reliability and things that repeat similarly, like me. But I'm thinking about freelancing because it looks like it pays more. Like, I'm not sure it's gonna be worth a headache for you. Like,
yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I'm gonna talk with a few freelancers and see if their mindset or their headaches are things. Like, you see, when you ask me for challenges, like, yeah, that's a challenge, and I'm okay with that. Like,
Yeah.
I pay the ticket to entry, and so checking if that works with you with this certain level of uncertainty and dynamism.
Alessandro, I wish to have the sky as the limit, but time is the limit. So the final question.
Cool.
If you were starting freelancing today, what is one thing you would have done differently? Hardest question.
Yeah, because I mean, like, if I would do it differently, why wouldn't I do it now? So to starting differently, I mean, I think it would be much easier because since I always want to be in data science, now AI in data science is a bit productified. Like 10 years ago, data science was just in-house, and people wanted apps and websites that I didn't want to build. What would I do differently? I don't know. Sorry, I'm able to have questions that I don't know. I mean,
exactly, and it's also an answer.
Yeah. No, different. I mean, but my career has been incredibly meandering. So, like, if I go back, anything I would do. I mean, once I understood how to do things, I would, instead of, if you go like this, once, I wanted to write here, you can go straight, but there is nothing I can go back. I mean, as long as I wasn't sure that here was where I wanted to go, is a bit difficult. Yeah, now I'm realizing that if there are people only hearing this, they will not see me moving my hands. I'm Italian. So good questions. I don't have an answer.
Got it. It's also an answer. So, Alessandro, thank you very much for sharing your challenges, for sharing your experience, and see you in the tech world.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
And thank you so much for listening. If you liked our conversation, hit the like button on 5 stars and share it with your friends. That's it. We're done. See you in the next episode.